My wife said, "No intimacy, use your hand." So the next morning I said, "No money, earn it yourself." She thought I was joking, until she realized I meant every word, and suddenly, everything changed. It was late in the evening when I reached for my wife, seeking a simple gesture of affection after an arduous and exhausting day. Instead of responding with warmth, she abruptly turned to me, her voice cold and devoid of emotion, and declared, "No intimacy. Use your hand." Her words pierced me more profoundly than I had anticipated. I remained silent, swallowing the sharp sting of rejection, but within me, an internal shift occurred. The following morning, I rose early, followed my established routine, and prepared to depart for work. My wife remained in bed, engrossed in her phone, offering no acknowledgement of my presence. It was as if my very existence held no significance for her. That indelible image lingered with me throughout the day, fueling an escalating storm of resentment within my consciousness. I reflected upon every sacrifice I had made for the sake of this marriage. Countless hours dedicated to my profession, the deliberate setting aside of my personal hobbies, and my unwavering prioritization of her comfort and needs. In return, I had received only emotional distance, a litany of complaints, and now, blatant rejection. The intimate connection that should have bound us together had been transformed into a weapon she wielded to diminish me. By the time I returned home, my resolve was firmly set. I would no longer permit her to treat me as a mere disposable provider. She greeted me with her customary demand for funds to cover a shopping excursion she desired to undertake. Typically, I would acquiesce without a word, but this time I stood firm. I met her gaze directly and stated calmly, "No money. Earn it yourself." For a moment, she stared at me, as if utterly incredulous at my declaration. Then, her expression contorted into one of furious anger, her face flushing crimson. She vehemently accused me of selfishness, cruelty, and a complete absence of affection. I did not elevate my voice. I merely reminded her of her own words from the preceding night. "You told me you won't share intimacy with me and that I should handle it myself. Today, I'm telling you, no more money unless you handle life yourself." Her anger intensified, yet beneath it, I detected another emotion, shock. She had grown so accustomed to my compliance, my generosity, and my perpetual failure to assert myself, that my sudden refusal visibly unnerved her. For once, she perceived that I was no longer intimidated by her moods or her silences. The remainder of the evening was marked by a heavy, oppressive quiet. She attempted to test my resolve, reiterating her request for cash, subtly alluding to impending bills, and attempting to elicit guilt. But I remained steadfast, meticulously explaining that mutual respect within a marriage is paramount. If she could deny me tenderness and connection, why should I exert myself ceaselessly only to be treated like an inanimate object? Over the subsequent few days, an almost unbearable tension permeated our home. She reduced her cooking efforts, scarcely conversed with me, and directed icy glares my way. Yet, I felt an uncharacteristic calm. I had established a boundary, and I was resolute in not transgressing it again. For the first time, she was compelled to confront the tangible consequences of her actions. Eventually, her composure fractured. One evening, she approached me, tears glistening in her eyes, admitting that she had indeed taken me for granted. She confessed that her previous words were deeply cruel and that she had never comprehended the extent of the damage they had inflicted. I listened intently, my heart a battlefield where love and anger waged a silent war. I articulated to her, unequivocally, that marriage is not a transactional arrangement where individuals exploit each other for convenience. Intimacy, respect, financial partnership, and emotional care. These fundamental elements must be reciprocally shared, not arbitrarily withheld when it suits one party. She nodded, but I could perceive her internal struggle with wounded pride. For several days thereafter, she diligently attempted to atone, preparing my favorite meals, sitting beside me, and communicating with greater gentleness. However, a lingering doubt persisted in the recesses of my mind. Was this alteration genuine, or merely a temporary expedient designed to preserve the comfort of my financial and emotional support? Even now, I continue to observe cautiously. A marital union can only endure if both partners accord each other equal value. That fateful night, when she uttered, "Use your hand," she fractured something fundamental between us. My words the following day were not an act of revenge. They served as a mirror, reflecting back to her the stark reality she had meticulously constructed. And whether our relationship heals or irrevocably collapses will hinge entirely on whether she genuinely comprehends that respect and affection cannot be unilaterally bestowed. I will not revert to being a silent, subjugated provider. If she desires me as her husband, she must treat me as such, not as a mere financial resource devoid of human emotion. Ultimately, my words were not intended to inflict pain upon her, but to compel her to confront the profound emotional experience I had been enduring for so long. A marriage cannot sustain itself if one partner unilaterally offers love, care, and financial contribution while the other only receives. She finally recognized that her systematic rejection and emotional frigidity were gradually eroding the sacred bond between us. After days of profound silence and introspection, we finally conversed openly. She acknowledged her profound error, and I, in turn, admitted that my own protracted silence had inadvertently allowed the destructive pattern to escalate. With this newfound mutual understanding, we made a conscious decision to painstakingly rebuild our marriage upon a foundation of reciprocal respect, genuine care, and equitable balance. This was not about punitive measures. It was about internalizing the crucial lesson that without a concerted mutual effort, even the most profound love can ultimately dissipate. If you like the story, please subscribe to my channel.